What's up YouTube? So if you watched a couple of my previous videos, you know I've already installed a couple of ZL1 parts on my 2020 Dodge Challenger. So far, I've done the rock guards and the side skirts. And combined, they really help protect the sides of the car from dirt and getting rock chips. And on top of that, they really look good. The final ZL1 part I want to install today is the rear diffuser. The box that ZL1 ships it in is pretty large, but it does come well packaged. You notice that they have specially shaped cardboard to help protect the diffuser and help it retain its shape during the shipping process. Installation for the diffuser will be fairly straightforward. In the rear, you'll have 4 existing holes in the rear bumper where you'll be able to just simply undo these nuts, insert the bolt in, and then redo the nuts. However, to secure the front end of the diffuser, you'll have to identify whether or not your rear end is threaded or unthreaded. My 2020 Scat Pack, unfortunately, does not have a threaded rear end. The hardware you get, whether you buy the threaded version or the unthreaded, is exactly the same. This extension will be the same no matter what. The only difference is that they will provide you with this 1/4 nutsert. I did not have a rivet gun already, so I went to Harbor Freight and just quickly picked up this threaded insert riveter kit. The ZL1 rivets are 1/4, and then that is what the default rivet is that Harbor Freight provides. And then, so all you have to do is just simply screw on the rivet onto the gun. And then we'll be able to insert this into the rear end. If you're wondering whether or not you have a threaded rear end, you'll just have to simply crawl under the car before purchasing and verify. So the 2 holes that we're going to be looking at are this one and that one. You can see if you look closely that these are just regular holes and there are no threads in there. And you can verify by, just sticking something in there, and you'll feel that the perimeter of this hole is smooth and there's no way you'll be able to screw anything in. So we're going to have to insert the riv nuts into these holes. So we've screwed on the rivet onto the threaded head. So we're just going to simply insert the rivet here and then keep on squeezing on the gun until it's tight. And we're just going to repeat until we can't squeeze anymore. Once you're done, just simply unscrew your gun. And once the riv nut is in, you'll be able to screw in your threaded insert. You can simply hand tighten it, and then you'll feel how secure it'll be. It's definitely not going anywhere. And once you have this in, just simply repeat for the other hole. The Harbor Freight threaded insert riveter kit actually worked perfectly. This was my first time ever installing a rivet, but it was pretty simple. So if this is your first time too, don't be scared. It's actually very easy to do. The next step is to remove the push pins that are securing the rear valance. Simply just get a flathead screwdriver. Kind of insert it in there just to get the pin started a little bit. And once you have enough room to insert your pin removal tool, to simply pry it out, and it comes out. If you don't have one of these, I recommend getting one. They're very handy. And then proceed to pull out the remainder of the pin. And now, this is where you have the hole to secure the rear bolts of the diffuser. So this next part is going to be a little tricky. We're going to have to somehow hold this up and then tighten the nuts inside these holes as we go. If you find that you don't have enough space to insert your socket wrench, you can just simply hold the nut with one finger and then use a screwdriver to lightly tighten as you go. You don't want to make it too tight because we still gotta have some slack in the diffuser to install the remaining screws. Getting the diffuser installed by yourself is quite a process. Ideally, this would be much more easier with 2 people, but you can still do it by yourself. What I found was the easiest method was to first get the right side bolt installed first. That side had the least amount of clearance to insert your hand. So I started with the most difficult side first, and I'm working my way left. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is just kind of lining up all the screws until they poke through. And then once they poke through, I just use my hand to kind of put the nut on top. And then I'm able to screw the bolt in from the bottom using a screwdriver. So I'm just going to repeat for these other last 2 bolts here. Just keep on kind of like pushing up and lining up until you're able to see the screw pop through. And then just simply put the nut on top and then tighten. Final screw might be a little difficult to align, but once you get the bolt poked through the hole, all you have to do is simply slide the nut on and then tighten with your screwdriver from the bottom. Alright guys, almost there. The back was a little bit difficult to attach, but all you simply need is a 7/16 socket, adjustable wrench, and a Phillips head screwdriver. And you should be able to get it done. Okay guys, slight problem. You can see that the final step, our bolt is way off. It's not even close to aligning, so we're gonna have to do something to make sure that we can get this bolt to line up with this bracket. You can see when I push up against the bottom, just how off the bracket is. So somehow we're gonna have to get this diffuser shifted to the right a little bit. Alright guys, so what I did was I loosened all the bolts in the front. That way I had enough wiggle room to install the rear bolts. So now that these are in, I'm gonna keep these loose and then go back to the front and then tighten those and see if we can get everything aligned. Alright guys, so I think the culprit is this hole. You can see that the top hole is much smaller than the bottom one. So when I try to align this leftmost screw, it keeps hitting the back bumper. So what I'm going to do is just simply drill out this hole, so that way the screw will have a much easier time to pass through. Alright guys, it took a lot of wrestling and wrangling to get this thing aligned, but finally it's done. It's on there pretty secure. It's definitely feel like it's part of the bumper. It doesn't rattle or wiggle at all. Definitely really solid. I'm pretty pleased with the way it looks. It definitely will flatten out the rear end. And you can see how it kind of has these curved ends to help block airflow from kind of catching into the rear bumper. But how much downforce it's actually going to provide at high speed, don't really know. But it definitely looks good, and it looks like it might perform some functionality. And then the front end is really solid. It does have a little bit of flex in the middle, but nothing I'm too worried about. When it moves, it doesn't really bang against anything, so it's pretty quiet. Overall, this install should have taken probably under 20 minutes, but with trial and error, it kind of took me over an hour. So I definitely recommend drilling out your holes ahead of time. It'll save you so much time to get this thing aligned, but the end result is pretty nice. Alright guys, here's the final look. Definitely really complements the rear end. Probably the thing I like most is before, when you used to look at the rear end, you used to see all of the exhaust muffler piping right down here. But now that the diffuser blocks all that view of all the piping and just finishes it off with a nice clean black look. And I got the standard ZL1 diffuser, which kind of basically has the smallest fins. They do have another even more deluxe version that has larger fins, but I think that looks kind of silly. I think this is a nice compromise and blend of looks without going over the top. Overall, I'm pretty happy with all of the ZL1 products I bought. I got the side skirts, rock guards, and now the rear diffuser. The only thing really left is to add the front splitter and the splitter rods. That would give it a really mean look up front. But the wide body does come with a pretty aggressive splitter already, so I'm not sure if I'll add that at this time. But it's one more mod that I can do in the future, but I think I'll hold off for now. Thanks for watching guys. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. I got a lot more Challenger videos coming up and content for other cars as well, so stay tuned.